Krishnamurti speaks about you finding the truth to your life right there, right then. And he's completely right. As soon as you find the truth to your own life, all the questions you've ever had in your life have been answered. You no longer have any more questions, so you no longer have an ego that is going to be hurt. So you don't really suffer from depression anymore, anxiety, because all of those things are linked to the ego. So I had to, before I found Krishnamurti, I was in treatment for depression and anxiety. So I went to a psychotherapist. I was lucky in Austria, it was for free. So I received treatment for free. And I was in the hands of an excellent psychotherapist, psychologist, neurologist, everything. And so it was very hard for me to admit back then that I'm depressed. So it was hard for me to go to my doctor and say, I feel like I want to die every day. And they responded very quickly and very professionally. And personally, I was very arrogant at the time, and I had taught myself quite a lot about psychology, blah, blah, blah. This was arrogant, intellectual, studying 28-year-old me. And I sort of almost only went to the psychiatrist to see if he's going to help me to prove to my ex-husband, my husband at the time, that this is a right thing to do. It's okay to admit you're depressed. It's okay to get antidepressants. It's okay to talk about your past with a psychiatrist. And I didn't know how much he was going to help me. And he's another person that I've expressed my gratitude to him. He helped me through a lot of things, and he helped me see things. So it's just a person that you can go to that will listen to you with no judgment and no improvements. No, they'll just listen to you and then see it from your side. So, and they notice when you talk about things that you don't really want to talk about. So they are trained to poke at the issues that you're keeping secret. And which is basically what you facing yourself in your life is. It's the same thing, just you can do it in your own agency, you can look at your own life yourself. But the psychiatry really helped me. So that I took antidepressants. I never liked any of the medication for the anxiety. It never really helped. I opted for smoking weed, which is not really healthy. Well, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not a huge fan of the taking antidepressants, as in, I don't like how the pharmaceutical industry is making so much money from it, and that's why I was very mistrusting of them. However, when I finally got an antidepressant and I was in treatment, this was before I found Krishnamurti, way before, there was a huge relief from my life. So I was depressed from childhood, and I know now, because now I see it differently. I know what it's like to be depressed, to feel depressed, and I know what it's like to not feel depressed. And I only got that because of the antidepressants. And in my mind, my rationalization for this is, I had a hard childhood. My mind didn't, as I was growing up as a teenager, maybe I didn't produce enough serotonin because of my situation. I don't know. Anyway, when I got the tablets, it balanced everything out, and I felt more alive again. So the depression was a heavy weight. I specifically say this because I want people to understand that there's nothing wrong to admit if you're depressed. And most females that I speak to, they openly tell me that they also take antidepressants. They also go to psychotherapists. However, most of my male friends, unfortunately, do not. So it seems like it's a bad thing as a male to admit that you're anxious, to admit that you're depressed. And there's more of this bravado of needing to prove that you're a strong man, I'm not too sure because I can't say because I'm not a man. The only thing that I've noticed very clearly is that for me it's not a problem to cry. So if something upsets me or something makes me sad, I will cry straight away. So if I feel like crying, I'll cry. Even if it's for a stupid reason, I'll cry because it's a release, it's a relief. I used to hold it back for years and years of my life. I didn't cry for years. I think I didn't cry. I stopped crying when I was in my family home. So crying was a show of weakness in my family home. Now, as soon as I feel like crying, I cry. And one of our friends died in my group of skaters, and it was a sort of interesting thing to see how it was a thing to hold back your tears. So luckily I have friends, male friends that will cry openly, cry and let it out. And I noticed that with some of them, no, it was a holding back of tears. I didn't want to let go. And I just wanted to say that I did that for years. And it's so much easier when you just let it go. The holding back is more effort. And sooner or later you're going to have to let it go anyway, because if I hold it back, I'm just pushing it aside. If I straight away embrace the feeling that I'm feeling right now, no matter if it's right or wrong or how you're supposed to react or not react, if you just let it out, just let go and let it out. And now when I cry, it's always very short. It's just like a short cry, a few tears, and then I'm over. It's released, so it's gone. So when my friends died, I did cry. Yeah. Especially when you hear the news, you connect the dots. You understand that, oh my God, that I'm never going to see this person again. And you quickly reminisce, and you quickly remember or I have these visual impressions or memories, and I cried at that. And thank you for giving me that. I'm sad that we don't have the opportunity to share that again. And I cried straight away. I don't care in front of who or what or if it's appropriate. It made me feel better straight away. And I never had the sense that I need to hold it back. I don't care anymore. So for me it's easy. But I just specifically wanted to say this. And for men as well, we're human. We don't have to have any idea of what we're supposed to be. If you're human and you've been hurt, you can show it. Sometimes it's actually helpful if people understand how you feel. Like if I'm happy, I'm smiling, I'm gonna laugh. So if I'm sad and you hurt me or something hurt me or I lost somebody, not something because that's materialistic and unimportant. If I lost somebody and I feel this pain and I want to cry, just let it out. There's nothing wrong with it. It's truth. It's humble. It's real human life. And if you don't live in a country where, to go back to the psychiatry, if you live in a country where it's not easily accessible to get to the psychiatrist or psychologist or get any mental health support, try your friends, because there's people out there that are very good at listening and very good at being non-judgmental, and this is a huge part of my friends group. I remember most of my friends, I remember the point when I said something to them that was something I needed to talk about, and their response, their loving, caring, ego-free, loving response. Even sometimes, even that day was like one of the first thing, like that's how we met, more or less, sort of thing. And I'll never forget it. I will forever and always remember their response to me. And one time when my uncle died, I spoke to two particular people and it changed our relationship forever. So there's nothing wrong with showing you pain. There's nothing wrong with being human. Everybody's going to deal with this sooner or later. And if you're humble and open and honest and don't let the ideas of what you're supposed to do cloud how you feel. It's about you, it's about your life. And the truth of the matter is that the sooner you deal with it, the easier it is to deal with it. The more you push it away, the more of a block it becomes. So obviously it's never too late to change, just start talking. And I'm sorry, and that our sick society is imposing these harsh, unhuman ideas into so many men's heads, and well, females as well, like we need to pretend to be strong. And why? No, we're human. We have upsets, we're going to be upset. We're going to show it. Like, you can sort of see it on your face anyway. So if you're hiding it, I can see that you're hiding it. So just let it out. Like, let's just get down to living. Get it out there. There's no use pretending. Like, you're going to be yourself all your life. The pretending is always going to change. The idea of yourself is always going to change. But the true you and the things that you had to deal with, that's always going to remain. So I'm sorry for whatever you're going through, and I hope that there's nothing wrong with crying at all. I cry tears of joy. I cry if someone shows me love, and it's also crying, but crying because of love as well, like it's tears of joy. So it's a different thing now. But it's also, it seems weird, like why am I crying when I'm so happy? But it's also because it touched me. So that's why I'm gonna share thank you for saying this, and this is how I feel because of this. And if I hadn't shown it, it wouldn't be as obvious. So and it makes you, so I've been to lots of funerals, and when you see other people cry, it makes you feel better because you want to cry, so you feel like you need to cry. And then when other people cry, it sort of gives you like, you're allowed to cry. But no, if you feel like crying, just cry. It doesn't last forever. The holding it back, that feels like you're going to break down and cry and cry and cry. But like usually when you just let it go straight away, it's just a short cry. And then you move on, and you've accepted it. And then you start laughing about it and making jokes. That's my next step, normally. So making fun of whatever's happened afterwards. As soon as I've accepted, I can make fun of it. So, there's many sensitive men and many sensitive men that don't know that it's okay to be a sensitive man. In fact, it's much preferred. In pop culture, no. But if you're not a fan of pop culture anyway and want to be the cool kid in school, then it makes sense that you will connect with people that are also the same, that don't fit into the heteronormative ideas that we are so bombarded with. So being sensitive is also, I always laugh because people were like, oh yeah, but I'm so sensitive. I go like, oh, it's the most beautiful thing, because if you're sensitive, that means that you can truly and totally love. So it goes in both directions. So we always focus on like, oh, we get hurt easily, or when somebody says something, I'm really hurt because I'm sensitive. But on the other hand, we can give so much love. So being sensitive is the most beautiful quality that you can have. So many people are hiding it, and I'm going, why are you hiding this? Like, oh my God, you're sensitive. That means you can love. That means you can truly love. And the more sensitive you are, I'm assuming, the more easier you'll understand what Krishnamurti is talking about as well. But that's just a random... I just think that the more sensitive people, they already sort of almost live the life that Krishnamurti is talking about. As I can see it in real life. Egotistical people live the exact opposite. So to me it's this yin and yang. But again, I'm just guessing, I don't know. To me it seems fairly simple that every single human being has the opportunity to give up their idea of themselves and just be themselves. So it doesn't matter who you are, you should be able to understand Krishnamurti or what he's saying. Because all he's saying is you should accept yourself for who you actually are. Not who you think you are, but who you actually are. And that's it, that's all. And that means the idea of yourself has to die. That's it, that's all. And then you can live in the present moment all the time. And then it's really easy to cry because if you're in the present moment, you get news, like you feel this feeling and you go into it. Like you go, you really go into it. So you're maybe like it's not an extreme reaction because it's a real reaction. Someone dies, it's sad, and it's a mourning of the loss. But my mourning of the loss of my friends was comparing to the years it took me to get over the loss of one of my friends when I was 19. I think it took me almost 10 years. And now the time of mourning is relatively short because I accepted it. As soon as I accept it, I move on to celebrating life straight away. So, yeah, and that's all that this is really about, is about celebrating life. So, thank you very much for listening, and one love. Talk to you soon.